Hello! So last time we successfully fetched the data from the backend, so we can see the to-dos from our database. Before starting with the styling, I want to finish with all the functionalities, or at least with the basics one. So like to be able to add a note, delete one, update, and so on. Firstly, so we have the notes. I want to have the possibility to click on it. So if I click to wash car, I want to go to another page where I can see the entire title and the entire description and maybe the daytime or something like that. So how we can do this, if you remember, we have two screens, home screen and no screen, which is pretty empty. In the app.js, we specified the note page is going to call the note screen. So if we write on the URL note screen, this should offer us note page, should prompt us to another page, an empty page with hello no screen, which is exactly what we wrote right here. What I want to do is to copy everything from here, from the home screen, and add it right here, like this. Now I'm going to delete the description, so we don't really have description right now. This div is going to be deleted, and this one leave it like that. Okay, everything should be fine. And let's see if we are doing the note page. Now we can see note title and the empty page. So remember, if you are into the base URL, you go to the app and you can see the base URL is calling home screen, so the page that we worked on. And if you're going to the note page, it's going to call the note screen, the page that we wrote right now. So let's go back to note page. Okay, the idea is that I want to be prompted here when I click on a note or something like that. So let's add this implementation. To be able to do this, what I have to do is to change this div a bit. So this is not going to be a div anymore, it's going to be a link. You need to import it from React Router DOM. This is going to change a bit how it's going to look. Let's just leave it like that, a div, and maybe add the link here. Maybe it's not going to destroy the structure that much. We're going to apply some CSS later on, but right now I just want to finish with the functionalities. So as I said, be sure that you have the link implemented, imported. Okay, so if you want to not have this basic style from the link, you can just say style text decoration none and leave it like that. Okay, and the color is going to be black for the moment, just for the moment. Okay, now if I click here, I want to be prompted to the note page, the same here, and so on. So we can add a to. This is going to specify where we want to be prompted and to the note page. And now if I click any of these things, because they are not divs anymore, they are divs with links, I can click this one and should be sending me. It's not doing that. Let me just make sure that. Okay, so you need to click the specific text. I don't really want that. I would like to be able to click the entire stuff. Let me just add a bit of style here. So a width of 100%. Shouldn't be changing too much, and a height of 100%. So it's going to be as big as the parent div. It's not working. We can add the background so we can see the size. Just add red. Okay, so it's affecting only the name and the description. Should it be really like that? Okay, yeah, it's fine. Let's delete this one, copy the link and add it above the div. The same with this one. Let me just see if it's affecting too much the stuff. No, it's still fine. So now you can click whatever you want from the to do, and it's going to prompt you to the note page. So we are clicking a div, like a mapping element. So they are all mapped, as I told you before. It's going to send you to note page. Okay. Now the idea is that each element is having an ID from the backend. If you go to inspect, click on the network, we're going to be able to see the data fetch. So just hit a refresh, look at the network, and you can see what the backend offered us. It's you can see the nodes. This is the endpoint that we called, and you can see the request URL. So we called localhost nodes. It was a get method, and it had a 200. Anyway, the idea is that if you go to response, you can see the data. So we got wash car, go to school, learn React, learn Django, whatever. Okay, the idea is that all of these fields are containing an ID. So if I console log the response, again, just console log the response, go to inspect, go to console, hit a refresh, you can see the response. The response, if you remember, is just the data from the back. You can see, if you go to the data, you can see the array, but all of them are having an ID. So firstly, what I have to do, each element that are iterated through a map should have a key. So the key should be something unique, so the node.id. Remember, right now with the variable node, we are iterating through the array of nodes. I told you about this last time. So we are just adding for every iteration a key, because if something gets changed, React should know which one of those elements, because if you can see, there are a lot of nodes. So if we change this one, React should know that only this one was changed, not all of them. So this is why they are needing a key. Okay, but from here you can see they are having an ID. So what we can do, you can see that this page can get an ID. Let's call it PK. And now each node is going to prompt us to NotePage and its ID. So add this little commas, I don't really know how to call them, but I think that you can see them pretty good. So $sign and the brackets and note.id. So now we are going to be prompted to NotePage and the ID of the current node from the iteration. So if I click to wash car, you can see NotePage and 1. If I go to go school, you can see NotePage and 2. If I go to learn React, NotePage and 3. So if I'm clicking on the run Django, it's going to provide me the link to NotePage and its ID, which is 4, I guess. Yep. And now when I'm here, so what I need to do is to go to backend and ask to give me the node with the ID 4, so I can print it right here. So we go a bit to the backend. In the Notes app, in the views, we should be having a URL for the get. So we have nodes and ID. It's the same URL as the one that is offering us all the nodes, but this one is having an ID. Okay, so if we go to no screen, yeah, we need to get the ID from the URL. So this 4, we can do it like this. So just say const pk is going to be equal to useParams. You need to import it as I did right here. Now we have the pk from here. This is just a variable. Okay, and when we first load this page, what we want to do, or when the pk changes, so if you add something in this array, this is going to be called every time this variable is changing. So every time the pk is changing, we want to refresh the data. So if I'm on the 4, I want to call this use effect if I'm going to another page, let's say this one, the PK got changes, so I want to call again the use effect, because every time the PK changes, it means that I'm going to the page of a note and I want to get that note from the backend. So we can say const response equal to await. Actually, let's just make a function get note, which is going to do something like const response equal to, this is going to be an async function because we need to use wait. Async. Okay, await. Axios. This is a get request. You need to import Axios too, so just import it like here. Dot get. The URL is going to be the same, so this one, but at the end we need to provide the ID of the node, so $sign and the PK. So hope that you remember, in the backend we are having a function. If you go to nodes, so localhost http 8000 nodes and an ID, which is what we are doing here. We are requesting localhost 8000 nodes and an ID. This ID is going to be offered to this variable, which is going to call node view, the get method, and the PK is not going to be none. So we are going to go to else, and we are going to filter the node with the specific ID, serialize it, and return it, as I told you in the backend part. So just watch it if it's needed. Okay, now what we need to do is to, let's say that we are going to have node set node use state. Initially the node is going to be null, and we can do something like if, so if node equal to null, we can just say loading. So the page is loading, so say return loading. Okay, so if we got the data, if the response punct status is 200, it means that the response worked just fine. We can, let's construct the response for the moment. So just construct the response. So now C is not defined. Oh, sorry for this one. So when we start the page or when the PK changes, we need to call the get node function. Okay, refresh. Access failed with status code 404. Okay, why? Let me just see. Not found. Not found. Okay. Just delete this from the end. It should work. It's still saying loading. I constructed the response, so you can see that the data came to us. If node is null, so if the response is fine, we console the response. Let me just go here. So washcar, click, we went to this page, NotePage, and ID is 1. So this page was loaded, and the use effect is loaded firstly, which is going to call the function getNode, which is going to have the response from the backend. So we are calling nodes PK, and this is going to call the function from the back, this one, as I told you before, but not from the user. It's sorry, not from the user, from the node, which is going to be the get one, where the PK is not known. So this is going to query the node from the back, convert it to the data that you saw on the response, and return it. And this is going to be into the response, and we also log it. So you can see it right here. So we have the data, and which is the data from the back. Okay, now if I go back, I click to the second one, go school, click, so the PK got changed, so the use effect got reloaded. So we call the get note, which is going to provide this time with the PK of 2. So the back is going to query the note with the ID of 2. And it's going to offer us, if you can see here, the Go School one. Now if I click to learn Django, the same, it offered us the learn Django one, so that's pretty good. Now we need to add into the variable note to the response, so set note with response of data, because if you remember, if you go to inspect, the data is in the response. So we have the data, where is the response from the back. Okay, and let's just print the data. So we can say h2, the title is going to be note.title, and the little description, note of description. And you can see it like this, don't be lazy. I think that it's not title, it's name. Yep, it's name. Okay, so now what we can do is just to center them a bit. This one, let's make it an h3, and this one on h1. Okay, as I said, we are going to style it later on a bit. So we got the data from the back. Let's center it a bit, so add the display flex, align items center, and justify content center. This should center everything a bit. Okay, and I want a column, so flex direction column. Okay, that's good enough. Maybe they can be on top. So align items baseline. No, this one, justify content, flex start. Okay, this is what I wanted. Okay, this should be editable, so we can add the change of h1 on input and the change of description of text area. Okay, the input should be like this, so add a slash here and copy it, this one here, and write placeholder brackets and the node of name. So the placeholder is going to be the node name, and the text area is going to be the same, and we can just say style width of 80% and the height of, I don't know, 30%, 20%. Okay, and the font size of 3RIM. Okay, and the text align of center, text align of center. Okay, and border none, outline none. Okay, let's do the same with the text area too. So copy this one, edit right here. This one should be a bit bigger, so the input is 20% and the text area is 80%, let's say 80%. And now you can see that we can write. I can't really write, this is not going to edit anything, but in the future this is going to be editing our data. So maybe I want to update the node, so don't be lazy, let's sleep and just hit update, and it's going to update the node, but this is going to be the future video. So what we achieved today, we can go to each node, we are requesting the backend with the ID of the node, and it's going to give us the data. Okay, that's it for today. Try and rewatch the video as many times as you need.